back for more Versus Live. I'm Todd Anderson.
I'm Ross Merriam.
And we got Brad Nelson over here in the booth. If you got any questions for us or for Brad, or you just want to hang out and chat, at SCG Tour with any of your questions, and we'll get to them, maybe. Try to anyway.
We're on a control kick here, and Todd is beating me up here with his Sinister Sabotages.
Well, so the first deck we played today, we played Guillermo Futapa's Jeskai control deck, Mr. Calufate. I don't remember what it was.
I'd have to see it in print to take any kind of guess on how it's pronounced.
Anyway, but it was using Revitalize as a 2-mana draw spell that kind of buffed your life total against these burn spells that a lot of the more aggressive decks play. As a control player, I've been playing Jeskai quite a bit over the last few weeks, and I found myself losing to decks like Mono Red Aggro because of things like Risk Factor and because of getting burned out with Wizard's Lightning and Lightning Strike. After being able to deal with other creatures, I was usually sitting around 8 life. And I think something like Revitalize could be the perfect counter to that type of strategy, while also against other aggressive decks just buffering your life total and just cycling against control decks. Like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, no, the Jeskai deck definitely looked good, and I think right now that's sort of the default best option. It did quite well in the Magic Online PTQ, and the story from that tournament was, of course, Golgari, but the Jeskai decks were there in force. There's one in top 8 and several more in the top 32, so that seems to be the default. Round 2 was a sweet-looking counter burn deck, playing against a deck that had a ton of anti-control cards, but you were able to shift into a tempo strategy with a bunch of burn and Goblin Electromancer and a few counter spells, and that proved to work very well. And now we're in one of the more, I would say, the more mid-rangey of the control decks, at least the most of these three.
So, yeah, this I'm playing a Grixis Dragons control deck centered around 4 copies of Nimazet, the Pay-Rune, 4 copies of Sarkhan Fireblood, and using that synergy to pump out a giant threat on turn 4, while also threatening to ultimate Sarkhan, while also filtering away dead cards depending on the matchup.
Yeah, so...
Oh, Brett. Yeah, I have a lot to say about this, not even a question.
You played a lot with Sarkhan, right?
I played a lot with these two decks in particular.
Yeah, of course you played a lot with Golgari.
Yeah, and one of the things that's more interesting about this, yes, the power of the Grixis Dragons deck is that it can like get a Niv-Mizzet out really early, but one of the more interesting effects against Golgari is the pressure of Nicol Bolas alongside the Eldest Reborn. 3 out of 4 turns in a row, you might be making a Golgari deck discard a card. And it's a great way to sometimes stop Golgari from even hitting that 6th land with Vraska, or being able to threaten to steal a Vraska from a graveyard because you don't know the Eldest Reborn is coming. The other side is Fiery Cannonade alongside Eldest Reborn can sometimes pick off those mythic 6-drops that can be so challenging to get to because the creatures, while efficient, aren't large in scale and can get hit by a Fiery Cannonade very easily.
One funny thing. Vraska makes pirates. Fiery Cannonade does not kill pirates, which
is true.
Super annoying. That's come up multiple times when I'm playing these Izzet decks because they just rely really heavily on Fiery Cannonade a lot of times to clean up a lot of the smaller creatures, especially the Explorer creatures that Golgari likes to play. That's what you're playing today.
Yes.
Golgari's the talk of the town.
Yeah, we played a lot of it on Tuesday. This is going to be JD and Clomperrin's list and Autumn Burchett. That they worked together. Autumn did top 8 of the PTQ last weekend, so their list it definitely has a lot of work put into it. JD's article this week was excellent. You should check that out.
It's better than excellent. If there's any article you read on Star City Games this week, I would rank that at the top for understanding Standard. She put a lot of work into that article. You can tell that she knows what's going on, and she kind of just took it from under me. I was thinking about writing that, and yeah, a lot of great points were in it. Highly suggest reading that article.
Yeah. So this matchup, I suspect, is going to be very long, very attrition based. We're going to play like a mid-range mirror, throwing haymakers at people, trying to measure our removal spells appropriately so that we always have the right answer at the right time for our opponent's next big threat. So it's going to be very tactically challenging. And we'll see who the last man standing is.
All right. Same die roll?
Yeah, same die roll.
I'm going to call odd again.
I've been successful at these.
All right.
Still even. So 3 for 3 on die rolls.
Right,
see if I can...
I'm just going to say it's not random. There's probably way more evens when you roll 2 dice than there are odds. That's my guess.
There are not.
I know. I was kidding. All right. Well, how was your opening hand, sir?
There are more even numbers you can hit, but the frequency is equal between them. My hand looks pretty good. we're a little land light, but we have some explorers to get us there. And once we hit, if we find one more land here, this hand is great. So
At my side, we have a removal spell. I'm really kind of wary about 2 copies of Search for Ascanta, just because the second one is fairly dead, but I'm going to keep it.
the second one just is like Thassa, but it never turns on.
Your turn. Yeah, I guess that's fair. Once the first one flips, I'm more so afraid of it being dead early and just not doing enough.
Pretty sure between the 2 Explorer 2-drops, I should just play Branchwalker first and apply more pressure.
Especially against a watery grave.
And I'll get a forest.
All right.
Pass the turn.
All right, go.
And wish you for 2.
Yeah, 18.
District Guide.
I'm going to Essence Scatter this one, hoping he just kind of misses his 4th land drop.
Pass turn.
Pass turn.
Okay. Attack you for 2.
16.
I will play a Jadelight Ranger.
Again, I just want to try to keep him off land drops, I think. I'm just going to syncopate this for 1.
Sure. I'll play a forest and pass.
Still.
That's why you play the Jadelight before playing the forest. Makes Todd think that maybe I don't have lands.
All right, we're going to go Search and Lava Coil. Pass. Using my mana as efficiently as possible. We could have gambled a little bit and gone for this into this next turn.
I will Seeker Squire.
Sure. When he follows
Get a
that up,
land.
and if he had played a Vraska Golgari Queen here and killed this, I would have been in some trouble.
Pass turn.
All right, look for Search. I'm going to keep the land, I think. Okay. I'm going to...
I wonder if I'm supposed to play this last turn. I didn't actually think of...
What was it, a Chupacabra or something?
No. You can keep...
I'm going to tick up discarding a Search for Ascanta. I'll play this and say go.
I will attack Sarkin for 1. I will cast a Vraska.
It resolves.
Okay.
Ooh.
The syncopate check.
Yeah, we didn't
Let's make a pirate.
Yep.
You can go.
And we're in trouble.
Yeah. Landing a clean turn 6 Vraska when you start on a 2-land hand feels pretty good. Gotta say.
Now what?
It has been surprising as the format has evolved that the Golgari decks were like, well, we should probably play 2 6-drops. And now the debate
Just
is,
like
should we just play all 4 Veraskas?
And
Yeah.
all 4 Carnage Tyrants?
Yeah.
I will...
Notably, this is a matchup where I typically want my Explorer creatures to hit lands and generate raw card advantage. And both of my Singleton Explorer creatures did that. That was super important.
Go.
A little positive variance never hurt.
Candidate not killing the pirate tokens from Vraska is super gross. Just makes me want to play Golden Demise instead. But being an
Let's,
instant is kind of good.
Mush your Sarkin to 1 and make another pirate.
Yep.
And I kind of want to play these 2. You have 3 cards?
I have 2 cards.
2 cards.
Even worse.
Because yeah, I think I want to continue applying some pressure. So I'm going to play a Playcrafter and try to turn the Seeker Squire into a card out of Todd.
All right, I'm going to Chemist Surge in response.
Sure.
All right, results. Probably should have done that before. Oh, no, because if it gets countered. Never mind. Nothing. Never mind.
And then I'm going to find back the 2 creatures in my graveyard.
Sure. So this game,
Pass
I
turn.
could have played it out quite differently. On turn 4, I had the option to go Search Lava Coil and clean up his board. Instead, instead of that, I could have played Sarkin and then threatened a Nimazet a turn earlier, which might have changed the texture of this game, and maybe let me keep a Syncopate up for this. But I think I Syncopated before that turn, so I'm not sure. But I'm basically dead. Wait, why is there? Oh yeah, I moved my graveyard around. All right, grave this. I don't think we have any outs here.
Real quick for strategy, Bone Reaver Z is asking why Ross isn't killing the Ascanta
Oh, with the Assassin's Trophy.
with the Vraska in play.
What?
Oh.
Oh yeah, that's actually fair. Okay.
Well, I actually don't think. I think the ultimate is very threatening. I think strategically it's a fine choice.
Yeah, that's general. Like I didn't actually think between them because I just zoomed in on the ultimate plan, and I do generally think it was better there, given how cleanly it landed. Like and being able to. I was also like concerned about applying pressure to Todd's Planeswalker by making pirates.
I'm going to shock target Plaguecrafter, draw a card with Nimzet, and use Nimzet to shoot Vraska for 1 so I don't die.
That's pretty good.
And I'll say go.
So now you have 2 in hand?
Yeah.
Let's play a District Guide.
Sure.
Get a Swamp and play it, and play Chupacabra.
Yikes.
And blow your thing up and attack you for 4.
Yeah,
and
12.
then make another pirate.
I think this should not be at 12. I'm at
Sorry,
12. I'm at 12 life.
I meant to put it at 11 for some reason.
All right, that's because you said the number 12.
Yeah.
About my life total.
Yeah,
All right,
it threw me
so
off.
candidate here would only kill these 2. We just
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for Todd to either to kill my creatures if he can't stop this Vraska from ultimating.
I don't think I played a land yet. Huh. Cards in hand?
3.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have to shock. I found this, but I have to shock to do it, so I'm still dead, which is unfortunate. Okay, you win.
What does this have to do again?
Bounces the highest cost permanent you control, and then you have to discard a
Card.
Yeah.
So, quick story on what's it called? Concise
Discovery Dispersal?
Discovery Dispersal. Sorry. At the pre-release, my fiance and I went double Golgari, and we just opened only Golgari packs, and we had 3 of those, and we split all of the, or not, did I say Golgari? I meant to say Dimir.
Dimir.
We split all the Dimir evenly and just had 2 equal Dimir decks with like a lot of the same cards.
Mm-hmm.
And multiple times we would cast one of those on one turn and then another in the next turn. It was the most disgusting two-headed giant experience of my life. Now I'll always love that card, even though I don't think it's the greatest card in Standard. What I actually like seeing it do is part of the Arc Phoenix strategies of
Arc
putting
Light
them.
Phoenix.
Yeah, Arclight Phoenix. And a lot of people have been asking you about that, Todd. So what is your opinion on Arclight Phoenix moving into some standard strategies?
So the card Arclight Phoenix is pretty good against like really grindy Golgari decks in general. I just think it takes a little too much work to really get it going. You need a lot of stuff to go right for it to actually work. Or you just need to play a lot of cheap spells, and the cheaper spells in Izzet are generally the weaker spells. And so, like, you have to fill your deck with a bunch of things like Shock and Opt and Radical Idea. And if you don't have a Phoenix to return, or sometimes if you only have 1 Phoenix to return, you're putting in all this work and building your deck in such a way that you're really underpowered. And if you just don't draw the Phoenixes, like, your deck just doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the trouble I've had with the card in general. I mean, if you had like a Buried Alive type effect where you could just put 3 in the yard and then go untap, bring them all back, like a Vengevine type thing or whatever, that'd be cool. The raid itself, 4 mana for a 3/2 haste flyer, not that bad, but it's just not that good either.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, well, we're going to let you guys sideboard, and we're going to take a quick 3-minute break before we get to sideboarding and see if Ross is going to take one down.
all right, we're here for sideboarding, and from my side of things, we're going to be preparing for a significantly longer game, and post-board in these matchups, your opponents tend to start getting more expensive spells in their deck. Unfortunately for me, that means Ross is bringing Carnage Tyrant. This is a card that obviously is very good against most control decks and has started to see a lot more play over the last week just because it's pretty good against Jeskai decks. And also, even if I'm able to clean one up, sometimes something like Find Finality can bring it back.
Memorial to Folly, Gary Feinbroker. There's a ton of ways to bring it back.
Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to lean on a much more aggressive plan, like we were talking about last match where I brought in Goblin Electromancer. We can't really do exactly that type of thing with this build, but what we can do is have like Disdainful Stroke as well as some of our other counter spells to stop the card Ravish Chupacabra from being too problematic. And hopefully we get to a point where we go Sarkin, tick up, cast Nicol Bolas, hold up Disdainful Stroke for that, and it can stop the Relic Seeker or Chupacabra, but it can also just race Carnage Tyrant.
Yeah, followed up with a Niv Mizzet too. You could just race in the
That's
air
what I
with
meant. What did I
flyers.
say? Nicol Bolas? I meant
You
Niv
said
Mizzet.
Nicol Bolas, but you were going to hold up Disdainful Stroke. So
I had both. I mean, if you have 6 mana, it's
yeah, you can either tap out for Niv Mizzet or hold up Stroke with Nicol Bolas. Both pretty good. And that plan makes some sense. If you can deal with my removal spells, the flyers are really good, and they should race the small ground creatures.
Yeah, Shock also coming out simply because it's one of the weaker removal spells in the matchup, and we're going to put all of our reliance on Fiery Cannonade to clean up the small creatures. Obviously, if Ross gets something like a 4/3 Jade Light Ranger, that could be problematic, but we do have some Lava Coils to clean it up if we need.
And you can cast Cannonade with the trigger on the stack.
Yeah.
All right, real quick while we're shuffling up, this is a good educational question from Red Raptor Twitch asking, what do you guys think about running a couple copies of River's Rebuke and Grixis, or is it control decks to deal with big boards?
So I'll start. River's Rebuke. We get asked this question a lot. I just want to say that this is a very common question. Cards like River's Rebuke are only good if you are doing something big on the same turn you're casting River's Rebuke. If you're attacking with a Carnage Tyrant, if you're activating Planeswalkers, in a Golgari Mirror, when both sides of the battlefield are stalled, a card like River's Rebuke will just end the game on the spot, right? But from a control deck, unless you already have a Nimzat in play, where in that case you're just already winning. If you already have a Teferi in play, in which case you're already winning, something like River's Rebuke is not going to do anything except basically buy you a turn. And I would rather have a Cleansing Nova or something like that would clean up most things. Even a Starve Extinction, like we saw that in the sideboard of Gail Mofatapa's Jeskai control deck. I think that's just a better option because it's a clean answer and not something that just buys time.
Yeah, to add to that, River's Rebuke was at its best last format in Teamer Energy Mirrors, where a lot of I forgot what it's even called, the 4-drop. How could I forget? I played it.
Bristling Hydra?
Bristling Hydra. I played it for over a year. But both sides would build Bristling Hydra boards.
It was, forget, Brad.
Yeah, it was difficult to get damage through. And then one side would River's Rebuke. So yeah, you hit it on the head. You don't want that out of a reactive strategy.
Yeah. The one time it was good out of reactive strategies was when the hidden stockpile token decks are really popular, because bouncing tokens essentially functions as a wrath. And even then it was still best in the more aggressive decks like Teamer or mid-range decks, because even if out of the control deck, once you dealt with all the tokens, you could just replay the stockpile and keep rebuilding going along.
Yeah, real quick while Todd is mulliganing, Titan Mito is asking, do you think Golgari decks would benefit from a third color, blue, for example, for counters? And I'll take the lead on this one with the answer of maybe.
That's a good answer. What the heck, dude? I've had 6 lands, no lands, 5 lands.
Well, I have 3 lands, so my hand's great.
Take your punishment and go to 4. You've lost 5, or you've won 5 matches in a row.
I'll go to 5. Look, I don't want it to be easy. I don't want to take away from Ross's victory. I'm pretty sure he's going to mangle me, and I would rather have him do it.
Go to 6. Let's play a game. My hand's good.
All right.
I think right now a blue splash, we're getting close to it being very good and crossing the line where it's the best way to go about things for Golgari. In general, you want to avoid splashing because there's an inconsistency. So if you can find some other way to solve your issues, then sure. But like things like negate are just so powerful, and control is very popular, and the Golgari mirrors have a lot of powerful non-creature spells that you can target with negate or disdainful stroke. And things like that. So I could definitely see it. You also get a Thief of Sanity maybe against control.
Yeah, Thief of Sanity is tight. But they usually do have a lot of removal spells against you. And I think Thief of Sanity is going to shine in a deck where removal is traditionally bad in game 1, and then you board a Thief of Sanity for game 2. But if you're playing a deck like Golgari where you can go super long with Fine Brokers and Memorials and Fine Finality, it's possible that card is just nits. Go.
I have a Seeker Squire.
Yep.
Explore. Chupacabra, you can stay on top. Okay. I think I might need that one in a few turns.
We'll see. All right, we're going to play a Sarkhan Fireblood. I'm going to go ahead and loot. I'm going to just pitch Cannonade because his creature is a 2/3, and it's not going to kill it. Your turn.
Okay. Well, this turn I would like to play a Jade Light Ranger.
Sure. And now it's going to be a 4/3. I think at the very least you should make it, since you see this, you should keep it on top the first time and bin it the second time, even if you're going to bin it. But unless you desperately need a land.
I don't desperately need a land, but I really do want to find another land.
Sure. I mean, the top card might also just be another spell.
Yeah.
If it's a land, that's good. If it's a spell, it's good. So I'm pretty good against me. I'm pretty
It
good.
is. But I still think I have to bin it. My hand is pretty like flush with stuff, and I'm just trying to fill the holes in it, and that just doesn't fill the hole.
Yeah, and I just want to point out this is one of the reasons why I'm very high on Jeskai and not Grixis, because in this spot, deafening Clarion would be a huge backbreaking play, and Cannonade is useless. All right, I will tick up for mana. I'm going to play Nicol Bolas and make you discard. So you go.
Draw.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect you have a disdainful stroke, but I will play my Chupacabra anyway.
Even better. Yeah, that's
Sure. I will attack your Sarkin with my Jade Light Ranger.
I think I just want to trade here. I will trade.
Okay. And pass the turn.
Don't love it, but
Making mana again.
your turn.
It's pretty good.
Cross fingers. He already put a Chupacabra down and a Vivian down. I don't have protection, but we're doing it. My deck is doing it, kind of.
I tried as hard as I could to make this 5th land drop, and I was unable to do it.
Oh no.
Do you have another Vivian?
So how do I want to play this? I could get something off the battlefield right now, and it would be I could get the Sarkin.
Yeah, you're getting the Sarkin.
Yeah.
With your Edict effect.
Todd's low on cards, but that might be multiple turns before I can deal with the Niv Mizzet.
All right, real quick for everyone in the chat, the reason why Nicol Bolas and Niv Mizzet are coming into play without the appropriate mana is because Sarkin's ability can produce upwards of any color combination.
Yes. Apologies, I should have made that more clear. It's the backbone of the deck. Sarkin Fireblood generates mana, it loots things, but it only generates mana to cast your dragons, which is why we're playing 4 copies of Niv Mizzet Peyrune in this deck.
I'm wondering if I keep the Squire because it doesn't die to Cannonade, and I might want to rebuy the Playcrafter at some point.
I think that's actually not a bad look.
Yeah, I think I want to sack the Crafter because the damage here doesn't really matter. I'm actually
Oh,
on the defense.
silly Ross. I don't think anything matters once Todd untaps with the Niv Mizzet.
This is also
Well, I
easier
have
to
a
kill with
land in
Niv Mizzet.
hand.
Oh, you only have
That's
one
all
card?
I have one card and it's a land.
Yeah.
I drew another card and it's a land. All right.
And if I draw a land, then we're
shoot you for 1, and then I'll attack you for 5.
I'm at 14.
I will play a land. Your turn.
Okay, that's not a land, but it definitely does something. Attack for 2.
18. Don't kill my. Don't
Pass
kill,
the turn
no.
on your upkeep.
All right. I'll start by drawing a card.
Yep.
I will deal 1 to this.
Okay.
I will Cannonade to draw, or I'm going to shoot you for 1 with the Niv.
Yeah, when you
And
get to draw
then-
first, and then
All right. Then
yeah.
this will die.
So I'm at 13.
I'll get an island, or I'll get a land.
Yeah, it'll be
Probably.
an island.
Well, I could. No, I have another black source. All
And
right,
then you
and
get
I
to
still
draw
get
for
to draw a
turn?
card for turn. Yeah.
All right, well, you're shuffling. I'm going to answer Borderland Ranger's question of has Chupacabra become Flametongue Kabu
So you're at
2.0 a format warping
Yes.
test for what's playable otherwise? And it exactly has. The creatures that are being played have been warped because of the card's efficiency.
Absolutely agree. I don't think it's as good as Flametongue Kabu was in that format, but we're still super early in the format, and it could very easily become as good or better. Just because it's not like you can play 5 toughness creatures, right? Like you could build a deck in Flametongue Kavu standard where you just tried to have either creatures that were really cheap or creatures that had 5 toughness, and Chupacabra just kills everything. So it needs to have hexproof or hexproof in black, like
It has to have value or
or
be disposable.
Just needed a land for so many turns.
What's
Come at me.
happening?
He has another
Oh,
Vivian and not a land.
I'm stuck on. Been stuck on 4.
And now I get to.
He's
flip
gonna.
my
He has
Scanta.
6 cards in graveyard, so he's gonna transform search this turn. Now I'm trying to figure out what I want to rebuy preemptively because I definitely need to get on the battlefield against this search, and I think it's Plaguecrafter since it deals with Sarkhan and any creature.
I agree.
Um,
Although Jade Light could just be fine to help you find lands, but
no, I need to find lands naturally. I'll get the Plaguecrafter.
all right, Scanta.
Thing is, Plaguecrafter doesn't let me pressure you.
All right, well you got Plaguecrafter back. No,
Yeah.
okay. So what you do
Yeah.
changes what I do.
I found the
So
Plaguecrafter.
I have to put Nimazet in the graveyard.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
because
it
I
was
need
either
this
going to be Plaguecrafter or Chupacabra, so
All right, and I will draw for turn.
and now I'm down a trophy, so I've only got 1 left in my deck, which means I'm going to be pretty reliant on these to end this game.
All right, I'm gonna main phase activate search for Scanta to see if I can find something good worth playing. Oh, that's pretty good.
oh, that's so good.
This is all great.
I don't want to hear that, Brad.
Just
Lie to me.
I would. Oh yeah.
All right, sure.
Ugh.
Chapter 1, The Eldest Reborn. Your turn.
Land. Yes.
All right, you can blow it
Blow
up.
it up. Yeah.
They blew it up!
You can go.
All right,
Tell me there's a chance.
draw. I will play a Sarkhan.
Ugh.
I'm gonna tick up and say go.
Todd,
Yeah, what's up?
I have a strategic question.
Yeah.
Brad Nelson in the chat has a strategic question. Why not search for Scant again? Because you have more Eldest Reborns.
Because of how my hand is. I'm gonna explain it in 1 minute based on what Ross does.
Okay.
That was a draw that changes, I think, what I'm going to do here. So Todd knows I have Plaguecrafter, and he just plussed and didn't discard the card in his hand. And I'm in an awkward spot where if I play Plaguecrafter and he kills it with the trigger on the stack, I have to sacrifice my Vivian.
And that's why we did it.
Yeah, so it's clear to me that Todd has some answer to Plaguecrafter at instant speed. So I don't want to cast it. We're definitely starting on Vivian to see what we find. And as much as I want a 6th land, I want to be able to play this Plaguecrafter. So I'm going to take the Seeker Squire.
Okay.
So let's play the Squire.
Okay.
Explore. Get our land.
Nice.
We can play that. And now, because of what I drew, I will pass the turn.
So you drew Vraska's Contempt? All right, I'll activate.
I will respond to the activation by trophying the Escant. So that's a more threatening card than Sarkhan is here, so dealing with that is more important.
So another island.
Now, even if Todd finds a Niv Mizzet here, we can use the Vivian to deal with that, and then Plaguecrafter down the Sarkhan.
Yeah. All right, cuts.
You're good.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. The problem is the longer this game goes, the more I'm just going to die to we can't take Nimazet because of obvious reasons. So I don't know if I want a counterspell or a removal spell, and I think I just want a Disdainful Stroke. But I can definitely see this backfiring. All right, we'll untap.
Yep.
Draw. Going to Sarkhan plus, and I'm just going to discard Sarkhan. Draw. Go.
Okay. Draw.
Yep.
I will plus Vivian.
Yep.
I feel like my hand is actually kind of juiced enough that I don't need more gas, and I just want to see what's going on. So I'm going to take this Overgrown Tomb. This might be a little spewy, because I'm putting some good cards on the bottom of my deck there.
Sure.
I'm going to duress you.
Wow, this sucks. I'm gonna cast Fiery Cannonade.
Okay. Got like a land or something or
No, so the problem is now you have to play another creature before you play Playcrafter.
sure.
And my whole plan was for you to play Playcrafter the turn before, and I was going to use Cannonade. Even with the Seeker Squire, I would have cleaned it up. Now you just get the
Get the
distinct.
stroke.
Why does he have to play another creature before Playcrafter now?
Well, he doesn't,
Oh.
but he doesn't now. Yeah, actually, yeah. So I'm just going to leave. Put your thing back. That's fine.
Sure.
You're right.
I mean,
I'm stupid.
Oh yeah, the 1/2. I'll still take the disdainful stroke. I think I don't really. No. I'll take the Cannonade because now what I'm trying to protect. I'll go to 11. Is this Carnage Tyrant that's going to deal with the Sarkhan?
Ross, you haven't beat Todd in 5 matches. Slam the dinosaur.
Pass it turn.
No attacks for one.
Or yeah, sure. Attack that thing. I don't know.
This is great. Bob the Destroyer asks, if Ross wins with Golgari, can we call him Moss Merriam?
I tried my hardest. Okay, I tried to keep Ross from winning a match for 2 weeks
Carney Boy
straight.
Sarkhan, 1 to you.
All right, I'm at
You're at 17. Plus
I
Vivian.
tried so hard.
This is just land or creature. So I take a Branch Walker.
Nice.
I will play a Branch Walker.
Yep.
Explore. I'll leave that one there.
nice
and I'll
Carney
play
Boy.
the third one.
All right, I'm gonna syncopate that.
And
for 12.
you can go. How many Carnage Tyrants does it take to beat Todd Henderson?
Eldest Reborn you.
I'll sack the 1/2.
All right, you win.
This is still 17, so still
You
lethal
win,
damage.
You win. Good job. Moss Merriam.
Moss
That's
Merriam.
nice. Where did Brad go?
This Playcrafter I bought back, just unnecessary. I was stuck with 2 Carnage Tyrants for a while there, and just sort of held in. Drew that drawing the second Assassin's Trophy is really critical.
Yeah, keeping me off of Search for Risk being flipped and just digging for removal is pretty good. I don't have a ton of ways to actually handle Carnage Tyrant. I just have a few copies of the Eldest Reborn.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I have to race. And once you stick the Vivian Reed, like clean up one of my flyers or keep one of my things off the ground, like my Planeswalker or keep my Search for Risk in check or whatever. But once I flipped it, like the only way out was Assassin's Trophy, but you finding it was too much.
With only 2 in my deck, found them both.
Oh, that's fine.
What
Good card.
Yeah.
All right, it's 3:37. We got 23 minutes. I believe we are locked into playing a match of Magic. I know that we made
Another
a straw
game?
poll. Yeah,
Not a match. I think we got time for one more game.
yeah. I think.
What?
Wait, what are you doing, Brad?
The current winner on the straw poll is Golgari versus Jeskai.
And I think that is a good game.
Yeah. They
But
are
I would
the-
like it sideboarded.
Sideboarded?
Yes, of course.
How am I
Okay.
supposed to sideboard, Brad?
Oh, I can help you with that. But real quick, before we get anywhere, I want to award Ross Merriam with the Versus Live Match Champion Trophy. Here we go. Congratulations. You finally bested Todd.
Nice.
They like me. They really like me.
I'd
I'd like to thank the Academy, my parents, my family, and friends. You know, it's not. So this isn't an individual award. Really, there's a lot of teamwork that goes on behind the scenes. I had a great director, Robert. I had great producers. You know, and really, it's an honor to share this award with all of them.
All right, so
Okay, Brad, what am I doing? Jadine actually did a sideboard guide for this matchup. If we want to just pull up hers.
who's Mike?
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
What happened when I stepped away?
Yeah,
Yeah, the director. Y'all destroyed.
we destroyed a Mike.
Who's Mike?
Oh, I might have destroyed mine from laughing too loudly, actually, because I did laugh very loudly. Can y'all hear me? Chat.
I think it's mine. Oh wait, no, I've got the audio light on.
Yeah.
It's Brad's. It's always Brad's.
Well, you did leave the room and come back. 'Cause, you know, maybe
No,
maybe you messed it up. You went out of range. Okay. Sure.
So against Jeskai, I'm bringing out all these creature removal cards,
This
right?
is not going to work very well because we have been sharing cards between decks, and now I don't even know what I'm missing. So
We might have bit off a little bit more than we could chew,
Okay.
is what we're saying here.
All right, Brad, you're gonna have to entertain people while we finish this.
Yeah, quick, Brad, do a jig.
I'm muted, and they're still saying the mics are bad.
Oh yeah, no, your mic. I don't know what's going on here.
Mine's bad.
Just turn it off.
All right, I am going.
We're gonna turn this. We'll get this off for you.
Tell them that we're changing mics for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Oh, we're
we've
already
switched.
on? Technology is crazy. Already?
The people here are very good at their jobs,
Oh, wait,
Brad.
They say it's still bad.
Well,
Nope, still
there's like
destroyed.
30-second lag or whatever. So, or not. There's like
I
a
thought there was only
20-second lag.
5.
There's like a 10-20-second lag. So, well, first I have to fix my deck. So I'm gonna need you to entertain people. Ross and Brad, go. So Ross is just playing his same deck.
Yeah. Well, I'm sideboarding differently, but
Side Brad.
oh, very man ain't what you used to be.
Dan says it's good now.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Dan-
All
Dan the
right,
man.
now I'll keep talking. All of that paying just for one little joke.
That
But
was a good joke.
yeah. All right. Tarzan VA asks, are there any good tempo decks?
So that depends on your definition of good. So there is the mono blue Tempest Gen deck is competitive. You can win matches with it, but it is not on the level of Golgari or Jeskai or Selesnya. But it is certainly not something that you can completely ignore and laugh off, and that is a pure tempo deck. Curious Obsession is a very powerful Magic card.
Basics on that.
Yes. All right. So Chase Miska is asking, let's talk about the Players' Champs. And I think that is a good statement because the Players' Champs is back starting in 2019. The entire
Yes.
season is going to count in different ways to get to the Players' Champs. Now, I don't think we have all the details out yet.
We do not.
But if you try hard and succeed, you will go to the Players' Championship. I can guarantee
If
that.
you win
Yes.
as many matches as Ross Merriam, you'll get
You'll
there.
probably get there.
Yeah.
I am anticipating that this is going to be the hardest year for qualifying. I remember the first year, not a lot of people, it was the sort of first of its kind. Everybody's getting used to the system. A lot of people misinterpreted how the qualification worked, and not a lot of people thought they had a good chance of going for it, even though they all were essentially starting from zero. And not a lot of people went for it, and the first year was relatively easy to qualify.
I
It
agree
got
with that.
progressively harder, but this year, I think because people fully understand it from the beginning, we're going to see a lot of people just completely dedicated to it.
Also, it's not even just an understanding thing. It's after 3 years, it showed how awesome the tournament is. It's a tournament worth going to. And the first year, we didn't know how great it was going to be. And I remember when Todd and I, we started kind of had a late start to trying to get there. But like, who knows how the tournament's going to feel, right? Like you have a prize pool, but you don't know. But like the way the tournament's been run and just, having Cedric and Peace Ollie in the booth for a tournament like that is always amazing too. But the tournament just had such a good atmosphere and a high pressure feeling the entire time. Every match, the tournament is designed to make every match matter to a degree that I don't even like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with how much every match matters, but also it's awesome to watch.
Yeah, I remember I had never been a part of a tournament where that was really the case. And I sat down for round one of the first Players' Championship, and I was against Dylan Donegan. And after I won, and it was a close 3-game match in the mirror, I won mainly because I had won the die roll. The person on the play won all 3 games. And just after that, I felt like I had already accomplished something. Like I won round 13 of a tournament, and I was still live for top 8.
Well,
And every loss felt like gut wrenching, and every win felt great.
I mean, so I'm just gonna freeze frame one moment from the first Players Champs. It's Brian Brown doing. We're going from his point of view. He is down a game, mulliganed, missing land drops, and he still needs me to lose my match to even progress in the tournament. He needs to not only win his, but because of how the tournament's designed, he needs another match to go a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of pressure. And so I love the tournament. I can't wait to see what this does to the SCG Tour, the players that are going to come out. Also, this year, there's team tournaments that also allow for points. So we're going to start seeing some really strategic 3-person squads getting formed to try to get there. And we might even see like teams like, of course, we saw the Hot Sauce Games win Pro Tour 25 and go to Worlds. But that was just one tournament. Now we're going to see teams like have to play all of these tournaments all year to get there together. And
we could also see towards the end of the year, people who are all on the bubble, but maybe right on the outside, team up so that even if you're maybe in 5th on the leaderboard and you know that the spots are going to go down to 7th, 5th isn't going to be safe. Normally you would think, I need all 3 of those people to do well. But if they're all on a team in a team event, then they just need that one team to do well. So you're not going to be safe until very late or almost maybe never. The race, because of team events, is going to be really interesting. The event itself is awesome. One of the things I remember from the first one, again, in that same first pod, we played, my pod was Dylan Donegan, Joe Lissette, and Jeff Hoagland. And I beat Dylan and lost to Jeff in the first 2 rounds. And under that structure, if you won that pod, you were just in day 2. And we had gotten to the point where we knew a 2-1 was going to win the pod. So I needed to win my match and for Dylan to win his, so I'd have the tiebreaker and win. So I went over to Dylan after round 2 and just started giving him sideboard notes about what Jeff's deck was in Jeff's deck, because we didn't have lists, to make sure he was as well prepared as he possibly could be.
Well, I don't know what you were saying, Todd, but I also did the same thing with Lee and Lonigan. I beat him in round 1, and then we talked about all the matchups.
Yeah,
because it's just better for me if he wins matches. It's a weird dynamic. It feels like the collusion word, but not really, not in this extent. Like you're wanting matches to go certain ways.
Yeah, every match is so important though. You sat there and you tried to think, what can I possibly do to help my standing in this tournament? Mm-hmm. Because every single match was important, and every single place meant maybe an extra $1,000, $2,000, $4,000. So like super high leverage at every single moment.
Yeah, and another question is, from Red Dolph is if Brad and Todd will be attending more opens in 2019 because of the Players Champs. And I know the answer for Todd is yes. And I want to say no because I'm trying to even take a step back from going to so many tournaments. I've skipped a couple Grand Prix. I've been on the grind for so many years that just going to 20 plus tournaments a year is starting to become my max. But then again, I said that about all of the Players Champs years previously.
Yeah. And eventually
I just went to everything.
You found a spot where you had a leg up. I remember one of the times
I created them. You made a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Top 8 at an invitational. And
I worked harder than any person in that room to do well at that tournament.
Sure.
I know I did.
Okay.
I spent 3 weeks testing. I felt like the most prepared person in the room.
I knew how well you knew that modern deck.
Yeah. And the standard deck.
Yeah.
And so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I need to be at this tournament. And yeah.
And as like high stakes and sort of cutthroat as the actual tournament is, and high pressure, the things around the tournament are the exact opposite. There's a ton of camaraderie among everyone, and you hang out around the time. You're all in the same hotel room, or you live in Roanoke. So it really is that dichotomy was also very interesting to me. You sort of got the best of both worlds, because we all play Magic because we want to experience the adrenaline rush of high pressure situations and high leverage situations and test our mettle against really great players. And you get that, but then you also get the best aspects of the community around Magic somehow at the same time.
Yeah, it's great. Now, one last question before we get this game kicked off, but it took so long that we're down to 12 minutes.
I'm so sorry.
Eric,
all my cards shared, or all my decks shared cards. It took me a long time to piece it back together.
I have a question after this,
all
because Efro says, do Brad and or Todd want to play SCG Vegas because the Moss Monster stole my team?
Okay.
Who's your team?
My team is Tannen and Brennan. Okay. And I had already told them that initially, I didn't think I would go to Vegas like 6 months ago.
I'll go to Vegas with you and play Efro, Brad.
Because it's just a far flight, and I tend to avoid some of those. Those are usually the ones I skip. But I had so much fun teaming with Tannen and Brennan earlier this year. After our second finals loss, I told them I want to go to Vegas because I want to get that trophy for Team Get Tannen a trophy. And so then I assumed I was going to go, but when I started looking into flights, they were obscenely expensive. So I thought maybe I wouldn't go, and I found a cheap flight and a way to get to the airport where the cheap flight is that actually ends up being really convenient, but we won't get into that. And in the meantime, had I been unable to go, Efro was their backup. Sometimes you need to downgrade to a Hall of Famer.
Yikes.
And instead, they're downgrading to me.
Yeah, no, I am... I will look into it, Eric, and see the schedule and maybe connect that with holiday plans, because it's close to holidays.
It is the week before Thanksgiving.
So you could just fly home after.
No, we're doing Thanksgiving here, though.
The airport where the cheap flight is out of is Raleigh-Durham, and that's where I'm going for Thanksgiving, so it worked out perfectly for me.
You,
sorry, Efro, that I'm really lucky and found a cheap Frontier flight.
Yeah.
All right.
Flights out of Roanoke, $600. Flights out
Yeah.
of Durham, $200.
All right. Well, we
We got
gotta get
one more
this game
game.
kicked off.
All right.
Okay.
Who's on
now
the play?
For everyone
You
that
got odds again.
Yeah. I'll take
forgot
mine.
what we're doing, we're playing a sideboarded game of Golgari against Jeskai.
Yeah.
Most likely the two strongest decks in this format.
No mulligans. Calling it. Actually, my hand is awkward.
I did technically mulligan, but I just wasn't super shuffled.
Scooter222 says, Frontier, you might still need Efro.
All right, 18 go.
Okay, let's draw a land so my lands enter it. Oh, no. I guess I'll play this one now and duress you.
All right, I will just negate that, I
I'm
guess.
usually not a huge fan of duressing this early, but my mana is so awkward because I just want to be mana efficient.
16 go.
The old Memorial to Folly double cemetery hand.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I found a forest this time. So I'm going to play the Jade Light Ranger.
I'll Essence Scatter it.
You can go.
I'm going to opt EOT.
Yep.
I'll take the 4th land, untap, draw. 14, your go. Taking a lot of damage from my lands, but I want to make sure I could cast all my spells.
I think that's the important thing against Golgari.
Yeah,
I will play a Seeker Squire.
that results.
Trigger Explorer. Get
Hey,
a
you get
land.
your
Play a Branch Walker.
Resolves as well.
Trigger Explorer. Get a land.
All right, I'm going to draw 2. Untap, draw. Go to 12, and I'll definitely Clarion.
That's pretty good.
He drew 2 cards off of it, but I'm not under pressure now, which is important for me.
Yeah. I'm going to go for the Vraska.
Syncopate for 1.
Oh no! Should have played around Syncopate.
Ross!
I'm playing.
Ross!
I spent all my mental energy thinking about which one I want to play.
All right, I'm going to main phase.
It wasn't good.
A Chemist
That wasn't
Thirst.
good.
It wasn't good.
I'm going to discard a negate. I'm going to draw 2. I'm going to play a search and say go.
Oh, this just in. Eric Froelich is not looking for a team anymore.
Wait, did he lock us in?
No.
Oh, rat.
It's a Ross joke.
Oh, because he's not going to make it. Do you have me at 14 or 12? I don't know if I shocked Okay, I think I might have shocked an extra time that I just missed. I'm pretty sure I've shocked 4 times. I'm pretty sure I'm at 12.
I had you listed at 12.
Okay,
The true counter burn.
it's okay. What you got?
I'm going to play a Jade Light Ranger.
Sure.
We can leave that one there a bunch of times.
Okay.
You can go. Or land go.
All right, I will
You know what?
Scanta. I have 6 in the yard, so I got to bend this one. I will draw.
I will say this is the kind of deck that makes Search for Scanta look good. Having ops, cheap things that get to the graveyard fast.
Yeah.
There's a lot of decks where I see Search for Scanta just too many permanents.
Yeah.
And now, because it's so more vulnerable than it used to be, it's sitting around for a while. Sometimes doesn't go so well. I will attack you for 7.
All right. I'm at 5.
Brings you to 5. I will duress you.
I will Sinister Sabotage that. And I will Surveil 1, bend a land.
I will play Golgari Fine Broker.
Sure.
Bring back Jade Light Ranger.
Okay.
Pass turn.
Cards in hand?
2. Got
Scanta.
a Clarion for me?
No, I don't. Got something better, though. I'm going to blow up your Memorial to Folly and kill your creatures.
Whoa.
I was trying to get a Planeswalker or a Carnage Tyrant with it, but I'll take that. I'll just take that one. That's fine.
That's pretty good.
It wasn't bad.
All right, and then because I might hit a land drop here, I'm going to main phase and opt because there's no reason to hold on to it. I'll just keep it and play my land.
Todd's willingness to make land drops there suggested he has an expansion explosion. Or you showed me
I
one,
showed
right?
you
Yeah,
one.
you showed me
Yeah.
one. So
Duress me?
do I just not want to play this creature because it's going to die to the expansion explosion? The thing is,
I am going to kill it and draw a lot of cards. That is my
the
plan.
thing is, I'm not going to be able to play a creature the next turn.
So we're at a spot against against Search for Scanta and Expansion Explosion, where we're not playing it into the board?
Where I'm thinking about not playing into the board.
I feel like it is a very winning strategy.
Well, I have an answer to the Azcanta. I just drew a trophy. So that's something. But the expansion, Todd's on 9 lands. He's going to
All right,
draw.
I'm all right. We're doing this right now. Congratulations.
Yay!
Just
I mean, I'm at
this.
5. I don't have a way.
I think I need to find a Carnage
Yeah,
Tyrant.
he has to
That's-
find land Carnage Tyrant. So
So that's a land.
Okay.
And that's a Secret Squire. That just dawned on me. I was like, what? I'm not winning this game by just grinding you out. I need to find a Carny boy.
Yeah.
So let's deal with that now. And you can find a land and kill my Jade Light.
Well, I don't have a answer for it right this second. But
Yeah, after you untap her.
well, I mean, I have the expansion explosion, but I may not want to do the full thing, so I can counter a planeswalker should it come down. But
This entire game's spiral out of control when I just didn't play her on Syncopate.
I had a
doofus.
negate too. It wasn't a big deal. I just got to use Syncopate in that spot instead of later on, like the Fine Broker or something. All right, kill your thing and draw 5 cards.
Play land of Bastard. Carnage Tyrant.
We actually have a good check for Carnage Tyrant too.
Yeah.
If I were on 7 lands, I would hold this duress, but because I am not, I'm just going to play it right now.
All right, so you get one of these sweet 4/1s, but I also have a Drake. Probably want to take the Fireball that draws me 10 cards.
I will take that.
All right, my turn.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna play the one he knows. That doesn't matter. Just gonna put it on the table.
Yep.
Blue, blue, red, red. I'm gonna draw a card,
Yep.
and so go with 5.
And a turn to contempt this.
I will stroke.
That's what I thought. Carnage Tyrant. Go.
Wow, I cannot believe you played your land.
I don't know.
I don't even know if I would have cast Chemisters here if you hadn't played your land. Because I just can't have my Drake die. So that's one thing to note from your side
Sure.
for people watching at home.
How big is this thing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
14,
14.
15. Fairy took a attack for 15.
And now I'm dead because Carnage Tyrant is no longer good enough, and you have a counter spell for any removal spell I have on this.
That's true.
And yeah, that's get it out of here.
No, I'm gonna.
It's gone. It's already gone.
Counter
Too
it.
late.
Gonna counter it and
I
surveil
mean,
1.
Ross is correct. It is gone.
And I'll attack you for lethal. All right.
All right, so it
That
looks.
Drake gets real big.
Yes, Drake. You just are playing a game of Magic, and then they play, like, my opponent will just play a Drake, and then I'm like, it's 13? Like, what?
It's real fast.
It's just not a number that normally exists in Magic.
So whenever I play like the Enigma Drake deck, or those versions of the Crackling Drake decks, where I would try to like turbo the graveyard. I would like play Tormenting Voices and Chart of Courses and even Discovery Dispersal. You don't need to do that.
No.
And one of the first builds of Jeskai that I saw featured 4 Crackling Drake in the main deck, but I think 4 is a little too many. I think you want a few just as like a last ditch win condition that you can kind of play on a certain turn that your opponent might not be prepared for it, while also it being relatively cheap at only 4 mana. Once the game gets to like turn 6, 7, or 8, you can play it with counterspell backup. And in those scenarios, it actually provides you with a significant threat to close the game against things like Experimental Frenzy, opposing
Carnage Tyrant.
yeah.
Control Mirror.
Right. Obviously, when you play 4, sometimes they kind of get stuck in your hand. And I don't think that 4 is the right number for Jeskai control specifically. Obviously, if you're playing a much more aggressive tempo-based blue-red deck with like Electromancer and things like that, 4 Crackling Drake's definitely correct, I think.
Yeah. I mean, in the abstract, you think Crackling Drake and you just have this assumption about what its power level is. And it's certainly like 4/4, 5/4 if you play it quickly. And then that's a pretty good card. But when you cast it in the end game, a 4-mana 13/4 or 15/4 flying creature that draws a card when it enters the battlefield is basically the best creature ever printed.
I mean, I don't even mind just a 1 or 2 for on turn 4 that drew me a card that forces them to play Chupacabra the next turn.
Yeah.
That's even a fine play.
Yeah, I mean, and when your follow up is usually like the problem is when they play Vivian Reba as their follow up. If they play Vivian and kill it, that's awful because you have to deal with the creatures that are already in play as well as the Planeswalker and the way that these Jeskai decks are built. They don't play Ixalan's Binding. They don't play enchantments that exile permanents because those get blown up by Vivian Reed and all the Vraskas and Assassin's Trophy. So they're not reliable. And so that just means Planeswalkers are very good against you.
Yeah, well, what you're saying is kind of a rule of Magic that just naturally occurs, and we can talk about it. But it's how I talk about how like at the beginning of format everything feels a little wonky, and that's because like we're still learning the play draw, like little small things you should do to your decks based on that, like the power level of a card like History Banale on the play compared to the draw and Crackling Date Flyers versus Vivian Reed or Chupacabra. Like we're learning.
You're learning optimal tactics.
Yeah, optimal tactics, but also like how your curves and reactive proactive elements are supposed to be in a deck, whether you're on the play or draw. And we're still learning how to build those decks. So like as we're growing and just learning which cards are good, we're running into these little flaws. And by the time the Pro Tour rolls around, or even after that, the decks are gonna be way more tuned, and we're just gonna find better numbers on the converted mana curve as opposed to right now we're just figuring out which cards are good.
Yeah, I mean. Specifically with Guillaume Wafataba's deck, he has 4 Opt and 4 Revitalize. And all the Jeskai decks I have played previously to this one had 0 of both. And I played 27 lands, and I was pretty regularly missing land drops. I feel like Guillaume's version that does play Opt and does play Revitalize means you can play fewer lands, but also as the game goes longer, the cards that are in that slot that would be lands can turn into real spells. And this version feels really good. I just want to say that this build of it, like Brad was talking about, we're not in the optimal setting yet for a lot of these decks. And the fact that there's like 8 1 and 2 mana cards that don't kill creatures or win you the game, like they weren't even on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really cool.
Every great sculpture starts out as a block of stone or a block of marble, and we just chisel away at it over time, and eventually something pops out.
A great Magic analogy that Jake Van Lunen had about that is you could take the best piece of marble and give it to the worst artist, and their creation will be much worse than the worst rock with the best artist. And Guillaume is an artist.
Yeah.
And
sometimes he's working with some poor quality rocks.
I mean, he is playing, like last season, we were like, Renewed Faith is unplayable. And he's playing it right now, right? And
effectively, yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. And, we talk about it as a creation. I'm going to get oddly philosophical. There's like the creation versus discovery thing. Because it was always Michelangelo that said that he didn't create the sculpture. The sculpture was in there. He just sort of let it out by chiseling away the rest of it. And so like the great versions of these decks exist. The question is like, are we going to be able to find them?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't believe that correlates to Magic that well because metagames exist.
Optimal version is not great in
everything's
absolute
evolved,
sense.
It's we don't want to find the red black aggro or the Teamer Energy version of this format. We don't want to find that inside.
Yeah, we don't want to find the perfect Golgari deck.
No,
we've been trying. We've played a lot of Golgari this week.
I think that is just gonna be something that we are working towards. But the fact that we haven't found it yet after like a lot of really big tournaments, just a ton of Magic Online data, all of the Golgari decks just look drastically different, and they're all relatively successful. And to me, that means that this format's going to be awesome.
Well, I agree, and I do believe that you are correct. Playing devil's advocate, Teamer Energy really didn't even show up at the first Pro Tour and then took over the format.
That's because everything got banned.
No.
I thought they had banned it.
The mono red.
How many archetypes did you give in the Pro Tour?
How many archetypes in the top 8?
Yeah.
I think there's going to be 2 different control decks. I think there's going to be like a Jeskai and something else. I think there's going to be 1 or 2 mono red decks. / Boros, I guess. Like they're going to be low to the ground, Experimental Frenzy on the top end, and the creatures and stuff don't matter. And then I think there's going to be 2 or 3 Golgari decks, and then 1 deck that no one knows about. So that's my prediction. That's just loose predictions. We're still 2-3 weeks away.
Yeah,
right?
we're 3 weeks out. A lot of stuff
3
could
weeks.
change between now and
And
then.
we are also out of time.
I mean, we've been out of time.
No, only 4 minutes.
Only 4 minutes. Oh,
Yeah.
I guess that game did not take as long as I thought. I was playing super fast.
Yeah, it was a quick game.
One last
It's just a quick 20 turn game.
Yeah.
one last quick question. I'm looking to see. All right, we'll go with Bob Goy Frino.
Bob Goy Frino.
Bob Goy Frino. Got it.
Come on, Jun guy.
Todd, do you think Blink of an Eye is a card that people are sleeping on that help you fight the Planeswalkers out of a Jeskai deck?
Yeah, I mean, in all my Jeskai builds, I've had 2 Blink of an Eye, and it's been actually the card that most people have wanted me to cut, weirdly enough. But every time I've cast it, it's been after my opponent snuck in a Planeswalker when I was like tapped out from a Clarion, and I've gotten to go like blink your Planeswalker, counter it on the comeback, and then untap and then kill the creatures that Planeswalker produced. Or if it was Vivian, I would just be okay and have to deal with the things in their hand. It's a safety valve. You draw so many cards with Chemist's Insight, Teferi, Rouse Revelation, which is what I'm calling Explosion from now on. You draw so many raw cards that the minus a card on casting Blink for 2 mana is irrelevant. Or virtually irrelevant, because your deck just is naturally inclined to cycle through, find the big card draw spells, and just basically wear your opponent away until you beat them with 2 giant bursts of Explosion, or you just play Teferi and get the ultimate.
Yeah, and the problem when you're drawing that many cards is you're usually not affecting the battlefield. The Chemist's Insight and Ral's Revelation don't affect the battlefield at all, and so you'll fall behind. And the way you lose is by not having enough time to deploy the cards you've drawn. And Blink of an Eye is a great way to ensure that you can use the rest of your cards optimally, because it'll patch whatever hole you need it to patch. And even though you're down a card, you're still more than ahead on the balance. So you're just trading a little bit of that card advantage for enough tempo to make sure that you don't die on the battlefield and give yourself enough time to deploy the rest of your cards and just bury your opponent.
Yeah, and occasionally you just run into the random Ixalan's Binding, and it's just a great way to unlock your Teferis because you don't have a lot of disenchant type effects. Like this version, if you Ixalan's Binding my Teferi, I have, one Invoke the Divine in the sideboard, and that's it. So, I don't know.
All right, well, that is going to be the time we have. So...
Wrap it up. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching Versus Live by StarCityGames.com. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week, I'm not sure.
It's Eastern Daylight Time,
Eastern
Todd,
Standard, Eastern.
Until first weekend of November. Oh, no, we are in... Sorry. Yeah, it's Eastern Daylight Time right now. But we'll be in Standard Time at the end of Daylight Savings Time.
Oh.
Daylight Savings Time is over the summer.
Oh.
No.
This is usually the point where we've ended versus videos in the past when I
Tuesday,
when I rant about arbitrary things.
Did we talk about the Open? Did we?
No.
You can still talk.
You're just done.
All right. Well, I will take care of this. All right. Thank you for watching, everyone. Join us next week, Tuesday and Thursday, for more Versus Live. But this weekend, if you're still looking for some more Magic content, the SCG Tour is stopping in Dallas. It's
Fort Worth, Texas.
Fort Worth, Texas, a modern open.
Get that In-N-Out water there.
Oh, yeah. So enjoy the content for this weekend, but we will be back.
Who's doing commentary for that? Is that Cedric? Is it Cedric and Patrick? Cedric and Patrick. Dream Team. Yeah. If you're not able to make it, you can watch everything live at twitch.tv/SCG Tour, just right here, same place. They'll be going on all weekend. They are playing Moderns. We'll get to see Modern with Guilds of Ravnica, and I think we'll probably try to bring you some Modern next week because we got Modern the week after in Charlotte. So we'll pit.
Boo.
Yeah, I also just want to keep playing Standard, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to just play Creeping Chill Dredge and
fair.
maul all of you.
Well, how about we do like half and half? We'll do like some Standard and then a
We'll
lot
figure
of
it out.
How about we
let
put
you know.
Wizard Red against Dredge?
But we're definitely going to get some Modern for you next week for people who like that. And we're definitely going to keep bringing you Standard as long as y'all show up to watch it and keep enjoying it. So keep an eye out for that. And I think that's going to be all for us. I'm Ross Miriam. This is Todd Anderson. We had Brad Nelson in the booth. We're all great. You're all great. We'll see you later.
Bye.